Hey guys, I haven't posted a video in a long while, and that's because I'm currently 29 weeks pregnant, and I've been focusing mostly on writing blogs because that's just been easier for me to manage. So when I was younger, I kind of always just assumed that if I ever had a baby, I'd have a C-section. The whole idea of natural birth was like scary, right? You know, your vagina's never going to be the same again. It's been portrayed as being traumatic and this like big thing in movies, and just generally there's a lot of fear around it. There's a lot of fear about what happens to our bodies and what we go through, and all the risks involved, and how there's no coming back from it. And that was kind of my assumption and just where I was at with the whole concept. But then as I more and more in my life started to seriously consider having a baby, it started kind of opening up this process of questioning that assumption of just that a C-section would be somehow better. And slowly but surely I started really asking questions and challenging my beliefs about it. And right up until I actually became pregnant, I'd started doing some proper research into it. And in the first months of my pregnancy, I started diving even deeper into the actual differences between having a C-section and having natural birth. And it completely changed my perspective. It completely shifted my position and my views on birth, on the process involved. And it gave me a deeper understanding into how much our perceptions have been influenced by things like movies, and by how medical training has changed over the years to seemingly, at least, prefer C-sections in a lot of cases. I know it's different from country to country, but doctors seem to, at least some, seem to push the concept of having a C-section as a safer option for mother and for baby. And I'm even more wary now of the medical industry, and even less trustful of the industrialized medical industry. And this whole process has reminded me how important it is to actually do your own research, to actually ask questions. Because if I hadn't taken that step to actually investigate for myself, if I hadn't taken that step to find out, to look at different perspectives, to ask questions I hadn't asked before and really challenge my beliefs about it, then I would still be basing my decision on this assumption and this fear and this kind of scary concept around vaginal birth that I had. So I'm not going to go into the details of what the differences are between natural birth and C-section. If that's something that you're interested in, then there are so many resources available. Go look it up. There's studies, there's podcasts, there's all sorts. So I'll link some stuff into the video description, and if it's something that interests you, then go ahead and check it out. But the point, or the aspect that I wanted to focus on, is how much of our lives are made up of us making decisions based on assumptions, based on beliefs, based on fears, based on trying to avoid something that may or may not even be true. It's like so much of what I believed about natural birth was absolutely just plain wrong. And I think what didn't help that was all the traumatic stories that I heard from women who had healthcare providers who had very specific kind of training, which led to them doing things that were actually traumatic for the woman giving birth. So the one piece of advice that I will just leave here, because I think it is really important, is to, if you are planning to be pregnant, or if you are pregnant and you're looking into birth, you need to put together a really good healthcare team that understands the biomechanics of birth and that understands how to support a woman giving birth, to physically move around in order to encourage the descent of the baby through the birth canal, as well as obviously deal with any emergencies that might come up. So obviously there must be trained healthcare providers like a professional midwife. And in any case, I know it's not always easy in different countries and different even different regions of different countries, but in any case, that is something that makes a huge difference, which you will discover if you look into some of the research that has been done around natural birth and things like cesarean rates and rates of episiotomies and rates of other interventions. Anyway, so what other parts of my life have I been living this way? Have I just been kind of making decisions and trusting my assumptions and my beliefs without really questioning them? And in a lot of ways, I know it's something that we only really start to question something when it becomes relevant in our lives. So the whole pregnancy and birth thing, I wasn't really a part of my life up until recently. And when it became more relevant to me, that's when I started looking into it. But something that I will say that I can change, because I saw how I did it with this belief around birth, to not cling to my beliefs so tightly, because I was willing to defend my position in the past of wanting, of believing that a C-section would be the best and the easiest way to go. And there was no basis for me wanting to defend that. I wanted to defend it only to kind of prop myself up within it and make myself seem like I knew what I was talking about. So that aspect of trying to present myself as being knowledgeable and trying to believe within myself that I was knowledgeable and that my decision is based on a solid grounded starting point, that's something that I know I can flag for myself and be aware of in the future, because it has a very particular kind of feeling to it. It feels like you're kind of taking up arms against someone or something, and it feels like, oh no, it's fine. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm thinking. I know why I believe what I believe. It's like this dismissive and defensive sort of position that we take up. So I know what to look out for. And this whole experience and process of changing my perceptions has given me a really good motivation to to be more careful and to be more aware of that tendency of so easily trusting my assumptions and beliefs. So anyway, I just wanted to share that little realization and process, and I figured this particular one would be easier to do in video. But in any case, thank you for watching if you got this far.